Welcome back. Now we have a very special guest on the show. It's Tracy White. Tracy, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
I want you to share your story. Can you just tell us a little bit about what happened to you?
Laura, I'm a mesh injured woman, and I had polypropylene surgical mesh implanted in 1998 and then again in 2001. Have had dreadful side effects and illnesses from this mesh implant. Ended up in a wheelchair in considerable pain, and I'm here today to bring awareness to that to the greater community.
Okay, so for those of people out there that don't know what mesh is, why would a woman get a mesh implantation done?
Well, Laura, if a woman went to the doctor with what's called LBL, a little bit of light bladder leakage, or prolapse, which is quite common after childbirth, they would probably be told by a doctor that they would have a quick fix. There's been many names used for polypropylene mesh, tape, sling, just material. That look out for the hidden names for mesh, and they'd be told that this would be a quick fix, that they could have polypropylene mesh for prolapse or bladder leakage, and they'd be all good to go and home and well again, which is not the case.
Well, clearly that's not the case because of your story. So when you were going through this, what were some of the symptoms that started to present, and how long after you had your surgery?
Pretty much immediately with the first surgery 20 years ago. I had couldn't urinate because knowing now that they'd put the sling in too tight, the bladder sling that I'd had. So it was horrible as a 35-year-old to be told that that was possibly
35.
just a... Yeah, 35 I was, with two teenagers. It was really difficult.
Sure.
And just to be told that it might go away, could be due to surgery or, you know, something, but it never did. And more symptoms, autoimmune diseases, etc., started to kick in. Yeah.
And Tracy, they're still doing this procedure today.
Today, right now. We've mesh ladies per se across Australia in support groups, etc., have fought to try and have polypropylene stopped as using it today. Yes, we've had a Senate inquiry. Senator Hinch had a Senate inquiry for us, and unfortunately we're still pushing to have a lot of things that were in the inquiry further out into the public and the changes done, so that we're actually calling for a Royal Commission. It's that devastating mesh in our community. So,
So wait a minute, why don't people just go and get it removed?
well, this is the million-dollar question. Thank you, Laura. There is probably a few surgeons in Australia that can remove a TVT, which is a length of mesh in the bladder that is reasonably non-complicated. I say that very lightly because these TVTs are a dreadful mesh and they cause terrible complications. There are a couple of doctors in Australia, but for people like myself who have pop mesh and complications with that, there's absolutely no surgeons in Australia that can do that. So we're forced to leave Australia to go overseas at a great expense.
Yes.
A great expense.
Yes. One that I'm sure with all of the surgeries and doctor's appointments that you've already stretched from a financial perspective,
yes,
as well from an emotional perspective.
Absolutely. I mean, we're looking in support groups at people's lives crumbling, their marriage crumbling, even down to their children not understanding, and there's young mothers concerned that have children they have to look after every day in dreadful conditions. So, so I'm sorry to sort of get off track, but it's so hard to know that there's so many suffering, I guess, yeah.
Well, I know it's a common practice now for women to go and see a health physio or a women's health specialist to try and do some exercises. Was that option told to you?
No, and I really don't think to this day that they're giving that. The information on mesh, the pre-information on mesh is not great, and they're not really giving any options. It's sort of a quick fix remedy in a lot of ways. I think that's what it's come down to. And there are things that you can do, and there's also native tissue repair, which can be used to fix light bladder leakage and prolapses as well. So yeah, we have a couple of surgeons in Australia that do that as well. Only a handful.
This procedure really should be done as a last resort.
Absolutely, a last resort, because the polypropylene was never proven to be good for the human body anyway. You look at all the material safety data sheets on it, says do not put in the human body. So
Yeah,
this
well, it
is
sounds like
Wow.
plastic.
it is
That
a plastic
sounds
garden
true, yeah.
chair. You're literally implanted with a plastic garden chair that will become hard and brittle, and it curls into a ball inside you. It
Oh,
breaks off
gosh.
and spears you. It tries to erode. It tries to escape from your body because it's not native.
Right.
It lets go. It says your autoimmune system says let's get rid of this.
Yeah.
So women are in dreadful situations from that.
Well, it's clearly debilitated you. Are you in a wheelchair as a direct result?
Yes, yeah, I probably would use a wheelchair 80% from erosion and from my legs. We have a lot of problems with our legs because we have nerve entrapment syndrome. Pudendal nerves get entrapped and they get inflamed. So a lot of women have trouble with their legs. I think there's a lot more going into wheelchairs than just myself as well. A lot in really severely disabled.
Now, this is what I really love, though, about you, Tracy. You haven't taken this and gone, I'm just going to roll over and die.
No.
You've been a big ambassador for Mesh Awareness Australia.
Thank you. Yep.
Yes.
And you're helping other women who are going through similar
Yes.
circumstances.
Yeah.
Where can people seek help from
Well,
this site?
as you just mentioned, Mesh Awareness Australia, we've had some beautiful ladies work very hard on a public Facebook page for all surgical mesh because, as you know, people with hernia mesh are also suffering, not just pelvic mesh as well.
I didn't know that.
Yes, we have. There's also an underlying crisis with hernia mesh in Australia. So there are hernia mesh support groups. We have state support groups. We have West Australian pelvic mesh support group with beautiful ladies. You can find all the information you need and get all the support you need. Each state has a support group which is easily found on Facebook. We suggest that people call Beyond Blue or Crisis Line, Lifeline, if they're in a dreadful crisis, because we do have people that are shocked when they find out, obviously. I mean, I was in the same position, so it's my pleasure to bring this awareness to other ladies to perhaps say, you know, this is what's wrong with you. It's not all in your head.
Yes.
You're not the only one going to the doctor saying, what's wrong with me? There are many thousands of us out there that are in this dreadful situation. So if a few words from me today, say please, please Google it, please find a support group, please check about polypropylene mesh. There's everything you need to find on our website's information. Please just check before you randomly go and have polypropylene mesh inserted.
Tracy, thank you so much for sharing your incredible story with
Thank you.
us.
Yes. Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you very much.
And viewers out there, don't forget to check out Mesh Awareness Australia.
We'll be back after this break.
So much. Thank you. That was great.
We're back with Aurora Gilbert, the holistic health nut, who's going to be cooking up some delicious
raw chocolate.
Yum, can't wait.
My philosophy is, how do I get food that's super nutritious and really, really good for you, but how do I make that taste really good as well?
Can you tell me what the super nutrients do?
Okay, so we've got a medicinal mushroom today that we're putting into the chocolate.
Yeah.
So this one here, and that has got a reishi mushroom in there. It's got lion's mane, it has got cordyceps, and it's got chaga. And medicinal mushrooms have got many health benefits. However, they're an adaptogen, which really help our body adapt with stress.
And it's definitely not magic mushrooms in there.
Well, they are magic, but a different sort of magic.
Laura was mentioning really about it. Yeah, let's start. Let's do this.
Okay.
Okay, so what do we have today?
Okay, I'm going to be making a racket that
Sure.
we're going to do.
It's okay.
Okay, so we're going to put some cashews in here. So I do a lot of workshops, and then I've got recipes on my website as well.
Yum.
So what I've got in here at the moment is I've got cashews, I've got some salt, I'm putting some cacao powder in there. So this is where chocolate comes
cacao,
from.
chocolate.
This is the magic stuff.
We love cacao on this show.
Lots of cacao.
Yeah, technically we're not actually cooking anything. So this is a raw.
It is. So this is completely raw, and you're just going to set it in the fridge.
So the mushrooms are for the de-stress element, and the collagen would be for
Your skin.
what else?
So we've got some vanilla that's going in there.
Yum.
So we've got all our dry ingredients in there at the moment.
Okay.
So I'm going to blitz this up.
Okay.
And why I use cashews is it makes it really, really creamy. So you know when you have a raw chocolate and sometimes it's quite bitter?
Yes.
I like creamy chocolate. So the cashews give it a really lovely creamy flavour. So you can see that's made it into like a dust.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. So it's all your dry ingredients.
All
So
the
you
dry
put
ingredients.
in, and then we.
And then we're going to put our coconut oil in there.
Yeah.
Just going to set it, and our maple syrup as well.
I can see you
Right.
putting a lot of coconut oil in there. I've heard that it's actually high in saturated fat, coconut oil.
Coconut oil, it is, and I used to compete and do bodybuilding, and I would do that. You would hear about keto a lot now, so
Yes.
I would do that plant-based keto.
Okay.
So I jack up my fats. Syrup in there, and
Yes.
I'm just going to blitz this up
Sure.
again. Sorry, make it racket again. So you can tell I didn't need to do that for long.
What do you?
There you go.
Nice.
And then I'm going to put some.
It's not too sweet, which is good.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. That is really good.
So I'm going to now put just some almonds in, and that will just give it that nice balance. And then you're putting the salt in there because you want that that salty and sweet in there. So I'm just going to blitz this up with the nuts,
Yeah.
and then we're going to pour it.
Yeah.
Done.
Good.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, great. Well, Aurora, thank you so much.
Thank
This has
you.
been
Thank you.
phenomenal. I can't wait to try this. I know our team is all really excited as well to try this. And yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me, ladies.
Thanks for tuning into this week's episode of Let's Talk Now.
Be sure to tune in next week for some more amazing stories.
We'll see you there.